the Gen Z has been identified as a cultural category, right? They like particular things, like you said, they like spending a lot of time on social media. It could be an identification of a particular fashion, for instance, or a penchant for liking some popular culture, being, let's say, fans of music, or a certain kind of expression that usually these people have on social media. But that is just a cultural aspect of it. I want you to focus a little bit on the socioeconomic aspect of what constitutes this Gen Z. Uh, Going back to what Elisha mentioned, there is a very interesting concept called cruel optimism that was proposed by this scholar called Lauren Berlant, where she talks about how at a particular point in history, it has been declared that this is the way forward in terms of how the economy should be managed, the Washington Consensus and so on. In fact, it's encoded in this very famous phrase by Margaret Thatcher called "Tina, there is no other alternative." So what Laurent is trying to say in her book is that cruel optimism is produced when you believe that certain policies that are essentially going to be beneficial to you are the ones that become obstacles for your development. So, for instance, the promises for a good life fantasy, a cluster of promises that have been made, which created this sort of aspirational generation, which has been told that you have the earth and the sky, and that is the limit. The sky is the limit, right? And it also creates a sort of an affective structure of hope, where hope sort of becomes this sweetmeat that is sold by politicians across the world. We see that in the turn towards populism across the country, across the world, in fact. Now, she also points out that this has created this situation of cruel optimism, where earlier people thought capitalism moved from one crisis to the other, but now she says, crisis is the default, and the relief to this crisis sort of becomes the window where people can breathe.